So if your freelance skill or the skill you're offering at your remote work environment is something that is creative, in the creative work, you are a designer, graphic designer, or you're a copywriter, content writer, even if it's not something that demands a lot of creativity, there are moments whereby it seems like your head is not in the game, or it seems like all your ideas have left the building. You're not feeling it, or you're not getting that spark, that ginger you always used to have sometimes. And it happens to everyone. But what happens when you start feeling this way and there is something important you're working on, or there is a project that you need to knock out, but you're not in that headspace? How do you get out of that headspace and cultivate like a mindset or an environment for yourself that helps you get the job done? So I have felt this way many times, and I'm just going to tell you the steps I follow, and hopefully you can take the same steps or use it to modify in the way that it will work for you. Alright, welcome back to the Creative You channel. My name is Blessing, and on this channel we share tips on work from home, life, freelance life, and everything in between for women. But then gentlemen are always welcome. So let's get into today's video. So one thing that I always do is I like to take a step away from my usual work environment. So with time, when I first started out, I didn't really have like a set out place where I do my work, like a home office. I first of all started with working from my bed, and then later I got a chair and table in my room. Then from there, when I got married, I started working from my dining table, and then I started having like a segregated workstation. So what that has helped me to do is the fact that whenever it seems like I am getting stressed or my mindset is not aligning with the work that I need to do right now, I'm getting creative blocks or I'm getting mental blocks, I like to leave what I am doing and go do something else. So I could go for a walk, I could maybe read a book or listen to a podcast. And most of the things that I do, I like it not to be something that it relates to the work I am doing. If I'm going to listen to a podcast or watch something or read a book or whatever, I make sure it's not tailored to the subject I am. It's something different. In fact, you will find out that I am someone that I love to watch animations a lot. And what that does for me is like it gives me some kind of creative release. It gives me some mental release in such a way that sometimes just that little moment of distraction that I allow my mind to have, I just get an idea. I might just be reading a book that is not even pertaining to what I'm talking about, and I just get an idea right there and say, okay, maybe I've not looked at this way. Let me take that action. So that is something that you can try. Another thing I do is I focus on targeted research. So let's say, for example, I'm like, there is this thing, I'm working on a project that I'm looking for how to write blog posts. Should I go and look for a research on that? Instead of just going into generic research, what I do is I try to look for specific case studies, interviews, videos, articles, whatever it is that is relevant to what I am working on right there. And then I read it or I check them out for inspiration. Thank God, in addition to Google, we now have AI tools that make life easier in such a way that they can cut your research time by you asking it questions or trying to use it to do research, which of course, I hope you always take your time to verify. I don't just dump it. What it does is that it just helps me to break down the whole thing in my head, and I'm able to get like fresh perspective, fresh ideas that will now make it easier for me to do what I want to do. And it just gets me out of my mental block easier. The next thing I do is I challenge my assumptions. Now, sometimes when you are used to do something in a particular way, and then you now get another request or another task, and it's not a little bit different than how you used to do it, it can cause a mental block for you. So what I usually do is that I first of all think of what is the way I always know how to approach this. When I am done with it, I now try to think, is there another way to approach this? Or is there another way that is going to be different from how I want to approach this that I've not considered? And then I compare the two, and sometimes I meet in the middle or I go for the second way. It's just like a debate, you know. When there is a topic, when we used to debate in school, there'll be some people that will argue for that thing, and there'll be some people that will argue against that thing. And then at the end of the day, if we want to meet in the middle, we'll have a compromise or have a balance of both worlds. So that is exactly what can actually help. Maybe you have not considered it in another way, and then you just need to consider both ways, or even talk to someone and say, oh, what do you think about this? They might have another approach. Even if you're not going to take their whole approach, you can take some ideas from there and add it to what you already have, and that has already gotten you out of your mental block. The next thing I do is I brainstorm without filter. What I do is any idea that comes into my mind for that particular project, I don't bother to start justifying, will it work? I just state everything down. When I set everything down, I have already bypassed my inner critic, because if I want to be going with step one and say, this idea, will it work? I can get stuck on that. Before you know, time has gone. I've not made any progress without even getting to the second idea. So I just jot down all the things I am thinking, all the ideas I am getting in my mind. Or maybe I even spoke to someone, they gave me more ideas. I jot everything down. Then after that, I now start going through at once and saying, okay, which one will fit this? And you know something, before you're having a mental block, you don't know what to do. Now you have a lot of ideas that are sitting. As you're going through and trying to know which one will fit the problem more, you can just hit that, wow, I just know how to solve this now. So this is what usually helps for me. I hope you try it. I hope it helps for you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.